Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I am your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of these end times. This will be part 3 in my series on that new iPad commercial called Change is in the Air. And on this program, I want to talk about the possible locations and date for the next false flag event. As you know, I predicted over a year ago that the previous iPad commercial called Your Verse also predicted a false flag event. And I have been saying for over a month now that the number 815 will be involved in false flag events in this new year of 2015. And my prediction came true when we had that Charlie Hebdo massacre in Paris that was predicted in that Your Verse iCommercial. And in that commercial, we saw this particular scene of an iPad and the two proper names, Frank and Charles. And of course, Charles referred to Charlie Hebdo and Frank referred to France. And the title of this particular scene was The Scapegoat, a sure reference to a false flag event. Now, this second scene from that iPad commercial shows what I believe to be two events, an explosive type event and a smoky event. Therefore, I believe this is more germane to the next false flag event. And we see at the very top, scene 11, shot 2. And we also see the number 121. Could those be indicating the dates? Now, when you turn this image upside down, you get an image of the Hoover Dam. Could that be the next false flag event? Notice that the sun now looks more like an explosion, maybe even a volcano, and we see the splattering of water. Now, in this new iPad commercial, Changes in the Air, we have a scene that is similar to the iPad scene in Your Verse, where there is typewritten lettering on an iPad. Now, in the Your Verse commercial, we saw that it indicated the Charlie Hebdo terror attacks. Does this new commercial give us the next false flag event? And the only outstanding words we see on here is masked brothers. When I first saw this, I immediately saw the ST and thought of saint. For example, St. Louis, or maybe Mount St. Helens, or St. Paul, Minnesota. Now that is very interesting. If it's St. Paul, Minnesota, the M and the A could be Minneapolis and St. Paul. They are known as the Twin Cities. Could that be what brothers refers to? Minneapolis and St. Paul, that would be the masked part. Brothers would indicate the Twin Cities. And of course, that would indicate that Minneapolis-St. Paul is the target for this false flag event. Or perhaps, as my anonymous subscriber says, we need to put a clock face with the center at Minneapolis-St. Paul and the hands set at 8:15. What kind of false flag events would that indicate? So here we see a map of the United States with a clock face centered on Minneapolis-St. Paul. And the large hand is horizontally coinciding with the 45th parallel. And the little hand points directly towards the Hoover Dam. Now, the 45th parallel is very interesting because it is exactly halfway between the North Pole and the equator. And the Illuminati love that type of a relationship to give meaning to their false flag events. And the 45th parallel, since it encircles the globe, you could have a false flag event anywhere from Minneapolis to Maine, into Europe, the Ukraine, and even coming back again through Oregon in the western part of the United States. That would fulfill that half of the prophecy. Now, the little hand pointing towards Hoover Dam We have to remember that also goes just north of other major cities such as Denver or even Los Angeles. Now, I personally don't believe Hoover Dam will be the site of the false flag event, and the reason is because it has been pointed out so often as a possible terrorist attack. And if you do a search on YouTube, you will see dozens and dozens of videos of people suggesting that Hoover Dam will be the next location for a false flag. As far as the date goes, as you know, Jonathan Clark said quite a few years ago, the Lord told him Hoover Dam would be broken up on 11/11. But remember, in Roman numerals, the number 2 looks like the number 11. Could it be that February the 11th is the date that would satisfy that particular prophecy? Not only is February the 11th another way to express 11/11, but it is also the second anniversary of Pope Benedict's resignation. Now, wouldn't the Illuminati love to celebrate the anniversary of one disaster with another disaster? Now, many of you, my subscribers, have given other possibilities. For example, on this military truck, which opens the commercial, we see numbers at the bottom associated with OUEST, that would be west in French, and NOR would be north in French. Is that giving a latitude and a longitude? And do you read the numbers forward or backward? If you read the numbers backward, next to the NOR, we see the number 45. Could that once again be indicating an event somewhere along the 45th parallel? Now, in my next program, I want to go in more deeply on your theories on this next false flag event. I wanted to get this one out today because February the 11th is coming up next week, and I certainly don't guarantee that there will be a false flag at that time. Remember, the purpose of these videos is to give the perpetrators second thoughts. And if we cover the topic on this program and they know about it, please don't say to me that if it doesn't happen, it's that I was wrong. No, very possibly I was right, and this expose will prevent that type of an attack. And as always, if you would like more information about my ministry here on YouTube, visit my ThirdEagleMedia.com website, and don't forget to go on the Zechariah page and click on those 4 PDF files. They are very important in these end times.